And so I'm going to use C.S. Lewis's book, Mere Christianity, one of the favourites. If you haven't read this book, please do. It really covers all aspects of Christian belief. And because he's such an excellent writer, or was such an excellent writer, he brings lots of fresh metaphors and ideas. And so even people who have been lifelong Christians get something out of this book because he's presenting things in a completely different way. And we're going to read what he says about this very attractive idea of believing in a life force rather than believing that God is a personal God. When people say this, we must ask them whether by life force they mean something with a mind or not. If they do, then a mind bringing life into existence and leading it to perfection is really God. And their view is thus identical with the religious. If they do not, then what is the sense of saying that something without a mind strives or has purposes? This seems to me fatal to their view. One reason why many people find creative evolution so attractive is that it gives one much of the emotional comfort of believing in God and none of the less pleasant consequences. When you're feeling fit and the sun is shining, you do not want to believe that the whole universe is a mere mechanical dance of atoms. It's nice to be able to think of this great mysterious force rolling on through the centuries and carrying you on its crest. If, on the other hand, you want to do something rather shabby, the life force, being only a blind force with no morals and no mind, will never interfere with you like that troublesome God we learned about when we were children. The life force is a sort of tame God. You can switch it on when you want, but it will not bother you. All the thrills of religion and none of the cost. Is the life force the greatest achievement of wishful thinking the world has yet seen? And so I think this is where a lot of people are today. This is certainly kind of where I was maybe 5-6 years ago. I would speak in terms of life or consciousness or the universe, life has my back. As C.S. Lewis says, this great mysterious force that is guiding us all, because I think we all recognise that if this is it, if we're just kind of meat machines running on chemicals, if everything is just a giant accident, then it just seems a bit futile. And so we are pulled to something greater than ourselves, but we have this reticence, this objection almost to accepting a personal God, because then we're not going to be judged. Okay, an impersonal force, as he says, there's no morals, there's no right and wrong. Okay, forces don't care if you cheat on your wife or you give money to charity. Okay, so when we're talking about the universe having our back and wanting the best for us, it's not really logically coherent. Okay, we must be talking about a mind, a consciousness, a persona, a mind that has a will and has purposes and cares about one thing over the other. Because if the universe has our back and wants the best for us, then that implies there's also a worst for us, which raises the idea of good and bad, good and evil, the moral thing to do, the not moral thing to do. So even though we like the idea of an impersonal God, when we really start to examine it, we find that it's not actually logically coherent at all. So I think that because there are so many people searching for spirituality at the moment, there are so many different religions on the planet, the vast majority of people believe in something else, whether it's multiple gods or whether it's one God or whether it's some kind of mysterious force. But even with atheists and people who say they don't believe in anything else, they will still use words like chance or luck or fate or serendipity or synchronicity. There's this idea that there is another level of life which we can't perceive quite with our five senses, and that is what people are trying to get in touch with, I think. So when we're talking about good and evil, we must be talking about intelligences, okay? God must be some kind of mind, some kind of personality beyond personality, and what we do if we want to just think about a force, is instead of having something beyond and higher than personality, we bring it down to something that doesn't have a personality at all. But when we get down to it, we must be talking about something like a mind and a personality, not just on the good end of the spectrum. Okay, not just when we're talking about God and other spiritual beings like angels or whatever else you want to talk about, but also on the dark side. And so the Bible calls these spiritual beings demons. Okay, and that Satan, or the devil, is a fallen spiritual being. This is how the Bible presents Satan.